Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is a very important issue. And that's the reason why we have nowadays ambassadors getting approved through the House. Before it never used to be there. It used to be the president appoints and they go to work. So we must have our views, because all of us are not members of the Foreign and Defense Relations Committee. We are waiting for the committee to present their report here so that we can give our views and opinions on it, Mr. Speaker. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this motion, but with a very heavy heart. Mr. Speaker, as a former foreign minister, and you know that area very well, and you're a diplomat, Mr. Speaker, the Foreign Service is not a dumping site. If you have served as a cabinet secretary and you have been dismissed due to incompetence, due to negligence, due to all kind of manner of accusations, and then you are appointed as an ambassador, Mr. Speaker, what is this knowledge that you could not use to run a ministry, that you are going to run a department, you are going to run a foreign embassy, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, once you have been dismissed summarily, the way some of these characters I'm seeing on this paper, on this motion have been dismissed, they should go and look for other things to do. You can do farming, you can do other engagements in the country. It's not compulsory for you to be given a job, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us emulate other developed democracies, where if somebody is relieved of his duty, he has other things to do. You need to have other professions. If you have a doctor, go and treat people. If you're a lawyer, go and do your other work.
Yes, Honorable Junet, there is a point of order from member for Kinango. Yes, Kwenya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is sad that the leader of minority is misleading this House. The cabinet secretary, the former cabinet secretary is speaking about or talking about, was not actually fired because of incompetence, because the president did not state any reason, and it is unfair for the leader of minority to continue misleading this House. That indeed the person who he is purporting to have been fired was fired for incompetence. In fact, he stated in the interview that he would serve in any capacity. I do not have, actually, he has insinuated. His insinuation is enough for us to know who he is talking about.
Two of these nominees, Kwenya, are former cabinet ministers. So which one are you defending?
Mr. Speaker.
Both number one and number two.
Yes, both number one and two. Mr. Speaker, none was fired because of incompetence. And we took them through a rigorous process where we were vetting them. And they are equal to the task. And indeed, they said that they can be assigned any role by the president.
Honorable Kwenya, to the extent that the appointing and firing authority gave no reasons, it is left to anybody's conjecture. So Junet is not out of order. But Honorable Junet, take your seat. Honorable members, today is a special sitting, and we have 3 motions to deal with. At order number 10, order number 11, order number 12. Before we go to 13 and 14. I want to propose to you to agree that orders number 10, 11, and 12 were assigned them an average of an hour each. If you want to truncate the time, so much the better. I will watch the trend of contributions. If it's repetitive and tautologous, I will invite the mover to reply. If there are different views, I'll be happy to hear them. So Junet, go on. Is that agreed by the House? Yeah, go on, Junet. Yes, Kainan? Pardon? You will contribute if you catch the speaker's eye. Go on.
Mr. Speaker, I am happy that you protected me from the the wrath of Honorable Kwenya, because maybe one of the nominees is from his village, who has been dismissed, Mr. Speaker, and now who's seeking a job through ambassadorial appointment. But Mr. Speaker, this is I think the House should look into this matter in the next appointment. Mr. Speaker, why should you be appointed, if you are a cabinet secretary and you are reassigned to become an ambassador, then that's fine. It is a matter of fact that you've been relieved of your duties. Especially, I'm sure the one Kwenya is alluding to is a cabinet secretary who served for barely 3 months. Why should you be relieved of your duties of barely 3 months if it's not out of incompetence? What else can it be? If it's on health ground, then you should not go to another job. You should go back and stay at home. Mr. Speaker, why am I saying so? Because I want competent Kenyans who are career diplomats to get space so they can serve this country at the level of the apex of ambassadorial work, Mr. Speaker, which is an ambassador, as has been said by the chairman of the committee himself, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, foreign service is a calling. It's a very important job, Mr. Speaker. It's not a job that can be done by anyone, Mr. Speaker. It is a job that requires certain skills, Mr. Speaker. And you have nurtured many people when you are the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Speaker. One of the things I admire about the Speaker is his diplomatic credentials, Mr. Speaker. I'm being honest. Because we have fought here many times, and you tell me even in our mother tongue, it's dodgy, it's dodgy, it's dodgy. Calm down, man, calm down. Mr. Speaker, it's dodgy, quote in quote. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a job that requires special skills. What skills is that you could not run a ministry that now you have acquired within the last 2 weeks so that you can go and deal with it in those foreign embassies, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this process must be taken seriously. Secondly, and most importantly, when somebody is being given a job of ambassador, please, I'm asking the executive they should do a due diligence. You cannot give somebody a job, and when he's told to appear before the committee is when she says, no, I'm not interested in this job. There are many Kenyans who want that job. Surely. Why should you be guessing whether this person want the job or not? A former cabinet secretary was proposed to Parliament for vetting as an ambassador for which country? Ghana, Mr. Speaker. This is the second time people are declining to go to Ghana. Initially, a former member of Parliament declined. Now the former cabinet secretary again declined. Why should we be begging people with jobs when there are many Kenyans who are jobless, who have the requisite qualification to go and serve this country in Ghana? And you know, in Ghana, that is where the headquarters now of the African Free Trade offices are. We need a very important person there, not jokers who don't want jobs, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, if under this, maybe this now, you know, we are the ones now who are sending experts to government. So if there are no experts on this other side, let them tell us, we shall give them experts to go to Ghana, Mr. Speaker, under the broad-based arrangement, Mr. Speaker. We have experts who can go and work in Ghana. If you give me 10 minutes now, I'll produce one. Under this exchange program of experts, is an exchange program under broad-based.
David Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, just on a point of information for Honorable Junet, I think it's important for you to find out first what the challenges were for Honorable Margaret Nyambura not to be able to take up the position. I think she did confirm that she had certain family challenges that prevented her from being able to leave the country and preferred to have a job within the country. So I think you need to find out what were the issues before you castigate her or castigate the station. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, yes. I think the Deputy Speaker did not hear me well. Mr. Speaker, these jobs when you are being offered, even you now, if you are to send me to a mission on behalf of Parliament to London, first you'll ask me, are you available from this date to that date? Before you bring somebody's name to Parliament. Parliament is a serious place. Before you send a name to National Assembly for approval and vetting, you must ask that individual whether he or she are interested in that job. At that level there. Not when she comes here, or the name is brought here, I tell you, oh, you see, I want to do farming, I have a big farm in Migori, I want to do sugarcane. That is afterthought. Before you give me an opportunity to serve, ask me whether I'm interested in this job. Because it's not the first time, it's not the second time. I don't want it to happen again, Mr. Speaker. I want this time Kenyans who are sure, Kenyans who are willing to serve the country to be given an opportunity. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion because some of the members also whom I see there can do, let's give them a second chance now. Let's give them a second chance. We see how they perform. Because the first chance failed, Mr. Speaker. Now let us see, let's give them a second chance. We see how they perform, how they do, how they will serve the country. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I support.
Mother Wangari.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also agree with Honorable Junet that we give them a second chance, because sometimes you'll have a member who will be here, not do very well as an MP, but when